Hey everyone, thanks for joining. I'd like to share the software that I use for editing my videos. This is the software that I use for, let's say, for example, creating tutorials for Linux, security, DevOps stuff, or sometimes, or most of the time, my drone footage. All right. The software I use is called Davinci Resolve. Oh, by the way, I'm on Linux, specifically Debian Bookworm. I've been using DaVinci Resolve for many years now. I think this is maybe my fifth year. Yeah, most likely fifth year. And and the way it's installed on Linux, it's actually a pain. So every time you install it, sometimes it wouldn't run. It will always fail. So what I had to do always was to fix the libraries. Sometimes I also have to rename the resolve binary, create my own shell script, and then do some LD library path right after installing all the libraries. And then at the end of the script, I will call the rename resolve file, like for example, resolve-binary. And after a few years, let's say I would like to upgrade, I would forget about that. And then I would start debugging again. It's such a pain. And I'm really happy to find a solution where it's actually much more easier now to launch DaVinci Resolve, and that is using Docker. Okay? Although I've noticed some performance degradation, but I don't care as long as I'm able to launch DaVinci Resolve much more easier. Okay? So, first thing we have to do is to download DaVinci Resolve for Linux. Okay, that's what I type. And then it's version 19. And then normally you would scroll down to the very bottom and then look for the download somewhere here. Yeah, here. Okay. Oh, let me zoom in. Okay, I went down. I scrolled down and then this is what I pick. I've been using their free version for so many years and it's fine. Okay. I think DaVinci Resolve Studio 19 does have other features, like for example, noise reduction. It doesn't have that feature in the free version, and also on Linux you cannot export to an MP4 file directly. Neither you can import an MP4 file directly as well. It's so annoying. Okay? When I was using Mac back in the days, MP4 files are properly imported and exported. But on Linux, due to licensing issues in MP4, DaVinci Resolve did not support exporting and importing of MP4 files on Linux. I don't know if the exporting does or is actually enabled in the Studio 19. I am not sure because I've never bought their commercial version. Okay, so now when you click free download, you will be prompt. I clicked it, then it should load something. Oh, I clicked it and then I'm gonna pick Linux. All right, I click Linux and then there's the form, and then you'll fill it out. I usually just say, like here in this, tell us how you use. I just put in personal, and then somewhere below, register and download. Yep, and then a link would actually be posted, and then I believe also that it's gonna start downloading stuff. All right, let's disable the zoom in. Okay, there you go. We don't need that anymore because I have already downloaded 19.1.3. Yeah, let's go here. So cd slash containers, and then I've got here two versions, Resolve 19 and Resolve. The other one that doesn't have the number is version 18.6.4. And then Resolve 19 is the latest version. Okay. And then you'll see here the zip file. Yeah, there you go, 19. And I downloaded it back in like 2 weeks ago, January 23. And this version that we're going to do is actually being done by another software, which actually made it easier. This files here is actually coming from an open source project called FatWire. So I'm gonna run the cat command, and I believe there's a git folder here, and then you'll see config. And you'll see here the repo. Okay, there you go, that's the repo. Fat tire. Oh, not fat wire. I said fat wire. It's fat tire. And then resolve that git. So now let's switch back to, let's zoom out and let's head back to the browser. I'm gonna open up a different tab. I'm gonna type in Google, okay? And then here we're gonna type fat tire resolve, okay? And then maybe on top, yeah, this is the link. And then what I'll usually do is, you know, for those who doesn't know what Git is, Git is a command line tool for connecting to Git repositories like GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, and few more. All right. And then in this page, you'll see a link where you can use like a download. Like for example, SSH, that's how I configured my system. So I'm gonna run the git command and it will connect to GitHub using SSH. So this requires a PEM file, PEM. It's actually a tool generated by SSH Keygen. And yeah, that's how it's done. And then I'm gonna copy this, although I've already done this. So let's switch back to the terminal. Here you go. And then let's run, oh, sorry about that. What happened? Let's run history. So you can see the commands I've executed before. Git clone, pipe grep resolve. Let's see. So there you go. So you can see here, maybe this first one, I've maybe executed it like maybe 2-3 years ago. Look at the number of command. That's from like very long time ago. This one, I recently executed it like January 23, as you've seen it, right? So I've already executed that, which actually downloaded or cloned. It cloned the code that you saw earlier from the browser, from the GitHub page, and it cloned it down here, right here. Okay? And then their instruction is to put the Davinci Resolve zip file into this directory. And right now, like what I said, the way I am executing or launching Davinci is through the use of Docker. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build. You see the command here, build. We're going to build Davinci Resolve, It actually takes a while, so I might pause it. Okay, so as I've said earlier, I have two versions here. I have the version 18, which is this one, and then version 19. The only version that I'm currently using is Resolve 18, because I tried Resolve 19 on this machine. It's very slow. Okay, it works, but it's slow. And but don't worry about this version. The reason why it's slow is because this machine that I'm using is from a machine that I built in 2009. Very old machine. What is it now? It's 2025. That's about what? 16 years? Is it 16 years? 2009. Yeah, 16 years. Oh my god. So I'm going to upgrade. I'm going to build a new machine on my birthday on April. I'm going to make a really beefy machine. I'm going to make it 64 gigs. This one is only 16 gigs. And the video card that I have here is NVIDIA 1080. It's fast, which actually helps. It uses GPU, but I'm gonna buy a better one, maybe the NVIDIA 4090 or maybe their 5080 something, the newer one. So that way I'll have maybe at least 16 gigs of GPU or maybe the 24. And I really want to work on like some of the things I love doing, like the AI stuff, like Comfy UI or Stable Diffusion. Those require tons of GPU memory. And sometimes when I use my NVIDIA 1080, sometimes GPU would actually whine. Okay, it's only 8 gigs, but in reality, it's like 7 gigs only. Anyways, so much about that crap. So again, I'm using Resolve 18 for my daily work. Okay, not official work. I mean, when I'm flying my drone or making tutorials, I use Resolve 18 because that's what's performant on my machine, but not Resolve 19. All right. However, I'm gonna teach you how to build and how to launch Resolve on Linux using Docker. So Docker. What is Docker? Docker is the capital D. Docker. That's the name of the company, and they made a tool called Docker command. All right. So which Docker? So I have here the Docker CLI tool. When you say CLI, it's command line tool. All right. And then that's needed in order for you to create containers. So what are these containers? So containers are like I won't be very detailed. Containers are like virtual machines, although virtual machines does have a full operating system installed. While containers, it's just a runtime. It uses your operating system as the host operating system. So containers will have the process inside, and in order for you to run containers, the Docker daemon or service, daemon is spelled like this, okay, or daemon. So daemon is the same as service, but that's what they call it in Linux. So in order for containers to be created and started, the Docker daemon must be started. Again, I am on Debian Bookworm. So let's check if Docker system is running. System status Docker. It's not running. It's inactive dead. So that means I won't be able to launch. I won't be able to launch my Resolve 18, and I won't be able to build Resolve 19 as well because the Docker service is inactive. So let's start it. So this is System D. It's the service, kind of like the parent service that starts all the services in Linux. And we have to be sudo. If you don't specify sudo, it's actually super user, allows you to execute commands that are owned by root. Root is kind of like the administrator equivalent in the Windows world. I'm just entering my password, and then it should start the Docker system, Docker service. And we will run systemctl status Docker again, and you will see it turns green. It means it's gonna be active. All right. Yeah, right here. We're gonna run this command again. So it takes a while, maybe 30 more seconds, or maybe it should be done soon. So we'll see. All right. So guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to comment in the comment section of this YouTube videos. So now it finally completed starting the Docker. So let's check the status. You'll see here, there you go. It's active now, it's running, okay? And then I'm gonna check if there are any running processes or containers. So the command is docker ps. All right, up 47 seconds. MySQL, I was doing some tests. MySQL is database, we don't need that, so we can actually stop that process. Stop, what is it again? MySQL container. I don't need that process, so we have to stop it so we can save some memory. Because anything that you start, any process that you start will actually eat up memory. So now, in this page, in this project, they have here a very detailed explanation on how you actually build FatWire in order to use Davinci Resolve. It's listed everything here. All right, that's the project link, GitHub FatWire Resolve. All right, and then everything's here. But I'm gonna show you a way so that you can run multiple versions, not at the same time, but multiple versions of Resolve in your system. So that's the beauty of Docker, guys. Docker tool allows you to do a lot of testing. Doesn't matter which version. For example, you'd like to test a version of an old Chrome, an old Netscape version, without actually affecting the library. If you're using native, or if you'll be doing a native installation of programs, what usually happens is that when you run, for example, like app install some libraries, they get installed in /user usr/lib. And now when you install a different version of that same library, sometimes or most of the time, that library that you installed earlier and the one that's working is now going to get overridden by the new one that you're installing, and that's gonna mess up your system. So that's why they came up with this, for example, like Python or Node. Like for Python, they have this tool called PyEnv, and in Node.js they have this NVM. Those are the management tools that you use to manage all the Python or Node.js libraries, or the NPM libraries. So that's somewhat similar to the way Docker is doing. In Docker, all the processes, all the libraries are contained in a single container. And you can see here, let me zoom in again. Docker ps-a will show all the containers that are not running but are still in my system. Okay, you can see here. So these are just a checksum. So look how many containers I have that are actually installed on my system. I've got the MySQL container, the one that we just stopped earlier. I also have Tiny Proxy, which is just a very small version of a web server. I was testing some coding the other night. And then Nginx is a full blown web server. And then some strings here are generated dynamically by Docker when you don't specify a name when you create containers. And then what else here? I have here earlier, I saw Untrunk. Yeah, I created a video before of Untrunk. Untrunk is the tool I use for fixing corrupted MP4, MOV, MKV files. And yeah, I have it there. Yeah. So, alrighty. So that's what Docker does. Okay. And then so much for the stuff. I think you have now an idea of what Docker is. Let's start building Resolve 19 because it doesn't exist yet. Okay. And then somewhere here, let's look for the command that I use for building version 18 specifically so that it doesn't clash with version 19. So let's try history pipe grep resolve. Okay, there you go. So let's make it a little smaller. It's too wide. Maybe this is good enough. Maybe one more. Okay. Yeah, there you go. So look, in order for you to have multiple versions of Davinci Resolve in a single machine, you have to specify environment variables like resolve tag, resolve zip, resolve Nvidia version, and build.sh. The most important thing here is your GPU version. This one, okay? If you don't specify, sometimes build.sh gets confused. So how do we get 550 version? How do we get this version? So in order to get the GPU version, you have to have a proper version of NVIDIA drivers, right? And I did that a few months ago. So now, in order to find out, there is a command here. Yeah, there you go. So I'm just doing a history, so I had to type the first character or first three characters like NVI, and I pressed the up arrow, and then it gave me this. So what I'm doing here is I'm executing nvidia-smi, and then ID would be 0 because I only have one video card. And then I like to tell the tool, hey, please do a query on the GPU driver version. And then I executed it, and that's the version. Okay. That's how you got it. That's how I got it. And then if we go back here, I specified that version right here. So that's right before you execute build.sh. And then also I had to specify the absolute path of the zip file for version 18.6.4. And we will do that for version 19.1.3. And the way to launch that version is using this command. So okay, let's start now. Let's build version 19. Let's take a look at the version. Sorry, the file name of Davinci. We'll need this. Okay, I'm gonna copy it, and then I'm gonna type resolve. Oops, resolve, not this one. This one is what I want. We don't need to change. Sorry about that window. The zoom, the magnification in Debian is so annoying. So that's the version of the GPU. And this one, where's my mouse? Where's my keyboard? There you go. I copied it to the clipboard. We're going to replace this. And then also this directory, it should point to 19, right? I'm gonna paste it. And then in the beginning, make sure you also modify this 1.3. Oops. And then are we in the right folder? Yes, we are in the right folder as shown here. I'm using ZSH shell, by the way, and some plugins. That's why it looks like this. It really looks cool. All right. And then again, the Docker service is required. So make sure you start it first, or else build.sh will complain. All right, I'm gonna press enter now. All right, let's see. So when you start it, it's gonna ask you about terms and condition. I just press yes. Okay, it's the default building, and then this is gonna take a while. So let's make it a little smaller so you can see how a Docker container is being built. At this point, it's building a Docker image. So I might pause, guys, because this is gonna take a while, and then I'll just show you later what it's gonna look like after it is running. Okay. All right. So let's see. Finally, after maybe 35 minutes, it's completed. It's because my system, this is old. This is an old machine from 2009, so it's about 16 years old. But anyways, hopefully it actually installed it well and built it well. I am not sure. And I even encountered an error earlier. Actually, not an error, but a warning saying I only have 800 megs left. So I had to delete some files while the installation was happening, and I was able to reclaim about 24 gigs, and it completed. Yeah, this one. All right. So let's start. Let's see if it's gonna work. I can't promise. So the way it should be started is you should use the tag that we created earlier, which is resolve tag 19.1.3, right? We're gonna use that. So let's control C, control break, because we need to find the other command. This one. We'll need to replace this with 1.3. And I'm gonna remove the zoom, but let me zoom in first so you can see what I type. See, that's the command I type. Okay, resolve underscore tag 19.13, and then I'm on the proper folder. Okay, all right. So let me zoom out so we can see how it looks like. Hopefully it works. I don't know. Because remember I said we can run multiple versions of Davinci Resolve, not simultaneously, using separate folders. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll find out. By using those environment variables, we should be able to launch Davinci Resolve using different versions. There you go, Davinci Resolve 19. Yeah, it's working. I don't know how long it will take, because I remember testing this around January. It was slow, so we'll see. We'll find out. Loading Fairlight engine. What else? Loading media page, cut page, edit page, Fairlight page, color page. Oh, I remember the issue now that I got. It was not able to detect the GPU, and that's because the version that I was using, I didn't specify the Resolve Nvidia. This one right here. Yeah, see, this one. That's the one I tried before. I didn't use this before when I built it. I didn't specify all these things here. I just ran build.sh and it didn't work. But anyways, let's try this. I think this is the one where I actually executed. I went to Bryce Canyon, maybe before entering Bryce Canyon. I saw, and I had to prepare my drone, my 7-inch drone. Yeah, that's the one, right? So, all right, it works. Let's quit. Let's see if version 18 is going to work. Okay, let's quit version 19. I closed it. So now we are going to launch version 18. So that would be in the result folder. Yeah, this one. And the way to start it is like this. Let me zoom in again. See? And then how come it's going back there? That's annoying. There you go. That's the one. So that's how you run another version of Resolve, and you have to make sure you're on the right folder. Okay, let me zoom out. Yeah, Fat Tire is a really cool thing that this guy's built. Allows us to run different versions of Davinci Resolve. Right? Yeah, it's really cool. I really like it. It's still launching. Yeah. And yeah, I'm gonna build a really beefy. Yeah, see this version 18.6. That's good. It's working. So I like 18.6 though. It's way performant than version 19 on my machine. But if my machine was recent, was better, I wouldn't have any issues with version 19. But unfortunately, yeah, I can't take it. It was slow. So version 18 was better on my machine. So is version 16, 15. It was way better. Yeah. Yep. So I don't know if we'll be able to find archived versions of DaVinci Resolve. That would be really nice. Because I've never seen, like, most of the features that I use have already been present or enabled in how do you call this, in version 15 or 14, couldn't remember. So yeah, guys, this is the latest one that I uploaded. Yeah, earlier you saw a different thumbnail, right? So this is my main version. That's why you see tons of thumbs, because this is the version I like. Yeah. So yeah, this is where I make my thumbs, right? Let's disable it, and then there you go. I'm just dragging this thing here. Yeah. I don't know if the zoom in still works. Oh yeah, it still works. Yeah. There you go. So yeah, guys, you know what I've been doing? I've been telling myself, okay, I'm gonna enter this hole or this gap. I'm gonna enter this gap, and then once I enter this gap from this side, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna split S. I'm gonna enter here, and then I'm gonna do a power loop, and then enter here again, and then yeah, that's what I've been telling myself. Even if I break my drone, that's the only way to learn, guys. And I've broke so many props in the past 3 days. I think I've broken 9 props now, and those are old props though, so it's okay. Yeah, so hopefully, guys, you enjoyed you enjoyed how to you enjoyed this tutorial on how to compile, build DaVinci, and run multiple versions in a single Linux distribution. And I hope you guys learned something from it. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment, and then I would love to for you guys to subscribe and follow my channel, and I'll be making more cool tutorials like this. Alrighty, guys, have a great night. Later.